Hello everyone and welcome back into the Below Par YouTube channel. Today with myself, Joe Stevens. Now, today I'd like to talk to you about what it takes to become a tour professional. A little bit of a different video today, hopefully you enjoy it. But as always, hopefully guys, you've already subscribed to the channel. We've got a really high percentage actually that are watching our videos that aren't actually subscribed to the channel. So it would really help us out if you could press that subscribe button. I'll pop it down there on the screen. And yeah, we'd really appreciate it. We're building a nice community now and we're nearing that 1,000 subscribers mark. So hopefully we can get there really soon. And hopefully you're enjoying the journey with us. So, a tour professional. What is a tour professional? Is it always the people that you see on TV? No, that's actually a really small percentage. They are the top of the game. They are the multimillionaires. They are the glamorous lifestyle that all of the other tour professionals that you might not see every day, that have a heck of a lot of talent, by the way, they are the small percentage. The guys that you see on tour, they are the ones that everybody aspires to be. Let's look at the different levels then. So we've got a professional like myself, like I am right now. I am just about to be, fingers crossed, newly qualified PGA member, where my day-to-day activities include coaching, manning the shop, organising retail, etc, that kind of role. I do still compete, but on a very I don't want to say casual level, because I still take it very seriously. It's an opportunity to earn extra income, but it's not my primary source of income. So now there's a little bit more of a relaxed feel around it. So that's my level of profession. You then look at golfers that take the route of doing what I used to try and do, if that makes sense. So when I was 19, 20 years old, I played on the level of Jamaica Tour, a few Euro Pro events here and there. This is kind of the UK satellite tours. So if you're watching from America, wherever you might be watching, the way that we try and break through here in England, the most common way is to work your way up through the UK satellite tours. Jamaica Tour was a personal favourite of mine. Most of them were local. There are others. 1836 Euro Pro they market themselves as the main one, which they probably are. You've also got your Eagle Tours. You've also got your TP Tours. I could go on. So that gives you a base idea. That's where you would start. You then work your way up onto the Challenge and European Tours. Now, the European Tours is the top of the top, but there might even, unless you're an absolute golf nut, you might not know a high percentage of the names that are playing on the European Tour, that are living a really nice life. Unbelievably talented golfers. You can't get on the European Tour without being unbelievably talented and driven, I might add. But I think the main thing that I wanted to get to in this video, and you've seen in the title, what does it take to be a touring professional golfer? Now I'm going to throw some stats up on screen, and I'm going to talk to you as I go through these stats on my screen here in front of me. Now, these stats are something that if you're thinking of becoming a tour pro or just wanted to know what it takes and haven't looked at the stats before. Now, let's first of all have a look at the 2019 season. So last season they played a full year. Okay, so scoring average. 46 rounds of golf. Rory McIlroy topped the scoring average at 68.61 as a scoring average. I mean, that is just absolutely unbelievable. That is an average. Think about all the scores you've had. If you're a scratch golfer, let's say, for example, let's throw the scratch golfers in here. To average 68, you'll know that is absolutely unbelievable. Bearing in mind that these guys are playing tour golf courses, they're long, they're getting longer, the rough is generally quite harsh. So Rory McIlroy is the benchmark then at 68.61 scoring average for the 2019 season. Think about the rounds that you've had, and you might be thinking, oh, 68, that's not silly low, but that is an average. He would have shot 64s, 63s, 65s consistently, because think about the hard days that they get where they're shooting low 70s, they haven't had a great day. To average 68.6 is what I'm basically trying to say here, is very good going, and I think that goes without saying. Let me know in the comments. I haven't actually been able to find this stat quickly. This is an impromptu video that I thought was a really good idea. Hopefully you enjoy it. Let me know what you think the scoring average is on tour to keep your card. It'd be interesting to try and find that stat somewhere. What you have to average in a round of golf throughout a season in order to stay on the European Tour. So we know that saying, drive for show, putt for dough then. Let's have a little look at the scrambling stats. So the top 10 in scrambling stats, Rafa Cabrera tops the stats there with 68.11% scrambles, and that is how many attempts did he have there? 254 attempts at getting up and down, 173 successful. Really, really solid. Obviously, some of those will be easy, some of those will be hard, and that's throughout a season. So there's lots and lots of scrambling to be had there. Now, actually, if we look at, hopefully I don't butcher his name, Matthias, Schwab, he's had 97 rounds on tour last season, and he's managed 65% up and downs. Now that actually, because there's more up and downs to be had, that high percentage is really, really solid. So actually that's probably more impressive than the 68% Rafa had. But nevertheless, this top 10 here is, it's special. Have a little think about how many times you get up and down in a round. What's the percentage? And also, how many of you keep stats? I used to. It's something that I really enjoyed doing when I got into the habit of it. It needs to become a routine, because to keep stats, you can understand your game really, really well and actually measure yourself against the best in the world. There's various really, really good stats apps to have. I know there's more that have come out in recent years, but when I used to play Shots to Hole, a little plug for Shots to Hole, get yourself on there. I don't know, about £100 a year. If you're a serious golfer and you want to keep those stats, think about that. That's really not much money per month averaging out, and you can really get a good understanding of your game, and you can put yourself up against these tour pros and really measure yourself and see where you're actually at. Now, putts per round is a funny one because, I mean, let's say, for example, I'm playing this afternoon and I could miss all 18 greens by 2 feet and get up and down every single time and have 18 pars, and I've got 18 putts for the round. But I could have chipped it to 2 feet every time. So it doesn't give you the best representation, which is why we can have a look at putts per green and regulation in a second. But putts per round, let's have a look here. Averaging Rafa again, but again he's scrambling a lot as well. So again, that kind of proves my point of 27.8 per round. That's impressive for an average, right? The stat that I'd like to go to now is putts per green and regulation. So putts per green in regulation, your first putt's going to be a little bit longer. And to average 1.7 Hao Tong Lee for 48 rounds, hopefully this has given you an idea now about how good you have to be and how consistently good you have to be. It's all very well having the odd good. Let's say, for example, you've got every golf club out there has got a fantastic golfer at their golf club, and they'll throw in a 67, 68 every now and then. Everybody's thinking, wow, that's amazing, which it is. Don't get me wrong, I'm not poo-pooing that at all. But how often does that person shoot high 70s, 80s? In my opinion, from experience, you need to narrow that gap. Your bad rounds need to be low to mid 70s at the very, very highest, your bad rounds, and you need to have that low round in you. Now, briefly mention that drive for show, putts for dough. It's not the case anymore, I wouldn't say. I mean, obviously putting is absolutely extraordinarily important, but driving now is so important. If you're not hitting it at least 290 off the tee, you're going to be struggling on some of these golf courses out on tour. So there's a real high importance of needing to gain yardage on tour. Obviously we have to maintain accuracy there, but yardage on tour now is so important, and I won't be told otherwise. If you do disagree, let me know in the comments, but driving distance now is so important. We need to match that with accuracy, like I say, but distance. Let's have a look here at the top 10 then. So Tommy Fleetwood's in there. He's smacked a few drives last year. Sergio creeps in at 10th. Callum Shinkwin, Thomas Peters, we know all about Thomas Peters, and 320 yards as an average. That's an average. I mean, thinking again, going back, taking the subject back to myself again, I'd have to hit my Sunday best, and that might happen once a round to get to 320, and it'd probably have to be firm and downhill as well. But that just goes to show you need to have these. If you're hitting it longer off the tee, you've got shorter clubs into the green. Birdies are at a premium. in today's game. It's no good having 18 pars. It looks great on the scorecard, really nice and clean, but it's not going to make you much money. If you're long off the tee and accurate off the tee, that should start then to equate to greens in regulation hit. Now, who did we see in the driving distance there? Sergio we saw, Tommy Fleetwood we saw. Who else did we see in that top few? But they're the ones that come to mind. 3 of the longest drivers are in that top 10 for greens in regulation. It goes to show that it should make it easier. And it's, again, I don't want to teach you to suck eggs, everybody that's watching this video, but if you're longer and straighter down the middle of the fairway, probably going to hit more greens. You've got shorter clubs into the green. So that's how good you've got to be. But let's have a think about the things you need to consider if you're going to make an attempt to try and play golf full time, because there's a lot of things you need to consider, believe me. 1, finances. Finances, it's unthinkable. So let's put you in a rough situation. This is what it was like when I was playing. It might have changed within the last 3 or 4 years, but this is certainly what I experienced when I was playing on the UK satellite tours. Let's say, for example, I was playing a mini tour event. It's a 2-day event, so I've got to get there probably the day before, have a practice round, stay there that night, and then stay the following night for the second round. You're looking at hotel costs. Let's do a little bit of a tally here on the right of me, probably what's left of screen. So we've got accommodation. Let's say you don't want to cheap out too much because you don't want to be uncomfortable, but you want to be wary. So let's say £55, £60 a night. Let's go £60 a night for 2 nights. There we go. So let's do a running total. Your food then. Your food, let's budget £20 a day. You're out and about, you're eating out, you could be organised and get yourself an Airbnb. You could have a kitchen. You could save costs that way. But then again, what sort of time do you have if you're rushing around doing practice rounds and playing all day and all that sort of thing? So let's say £20 a day average. That's lowballing a little bit as well. So that goes in there. Your entry fee, that'll vary, but based on the average of what I played on various mini satellite tours, we'd be going £200 for an entry. That goes on to the total for the week. You then got your petrol. Let's say you're doing a 100 mile round trip. Let's put £30-40 on there for petrol. And that's just the first things that you need to consider. There will be other costs probably along the way. Let's say, I don't know, not all of us were lucky to be supplied with kit. So let's say, I don't know, you've only got 2 sleeves of golf balls left from the previous week. You go and buy a dozen golf balls from the pro shop. That's another £45. It all adds up. It's amazing how much it does, in fact, add up. So let's put all those costs in a total down here somewhere. And let's think about the prize funds and think about what sort of scores you need to shoot in order to make that back. On a UK satellite tour, I know the prize funds are getting much, much better, but from when I was playing, you'd be looking at about £2,000 first. Let's say then £1,000 second, third, fourth, fifth, you'd be looking sort of a breakdown of 700, 500, 300, and then it goes into just about making your entry fee back, paying out top 15 for a field of, let's say, 45, 50 guys. It's tough going, is the moral of this story. And I'm not trying to discourage people from trying to do this, because absolutely go for it. Believe in yourself. You've got to follow the journey and you've got to go through these stages, unless you go down the route that I'm going to tell you next. Now, that just gives you an idea of how expensive it is week to week this is, and how difficult it is to earn your money back for that week. The other route you